Welcome to another episode of MR Media, where authentic stories are told. We entertain, inform, and educate our viewers. MR Media deals with the different personalities at the comfort of your home. As the contest of the speaker takes shape, today we are privileged to host one of the aspirants for the seat, Mr. Martin Owiny. Please, welcome on board. It's true that the position of the speaker is the third most powerful in any county government. So why did you decide to go for the speaker seat?
Well, I didn't look at it that way. For me, we supported the governor. We worked very hard, and I thought this governor was the most qualified governor. And of course, the governor's ticket came together with the DG ticket. And then after that, we settled down. Then I saw when the applications were sent out for the speaker position, I saw I have an opportunity. I saw the candidates who were there. I said, well, why not? Why not? So we're in.
This position has attracted more than 5 participants, you being inclusive. So what makes you to stand out as a candidate?
What I think makes me stand out is the youthful and vibrance and the sort of a progressive candidature I'm bringing in this equation. Most of my competitors are, I'd rather say, mature or maybe much older and with track records that are questionable. And I think I'm bringing in a breath of fresh air to this process. I'm bringing in here a situation where innovation, things like having an assembly that would be trusted. Yeah, actually, this candidate is coming out back from the backdrop of I would not call failed, but unsuccessful previous speakers. The last county assembly, remember, they even tried to impeach the governor. There was even a situation where the speaker was impeached twice. The first speaker was impeached. And this is happening in Homa Bay. It happened in Kisumu. It happened in other places. It's because of the quality of leadership that the assembly has got before. I want to provide a smooth and nice way of running the assembly in such a way that the assembly work will not be interrupted by this kind of fracas. I'm presenting also a candidature that is properly exposed, experienced, and I would say a candidature that would provide a true balance between the much older generation and the way younger generation, and that can contain that vibrancy and harmonize these kind of groups.
Now, MIGORI County Assembly has 59 elected and nominated members so far. And I believe that the race is not easy. It's tough. Now, which criteria are you using so that you can garner your votes and clinch to that high seat? Yes.
I have developed a manifesto, sort of a wish list of how I want to run the assembly. And mine is a blanket approach. I'm approaching people from different sectors, gender, religion, parties, and all that. So it's an open and free. I'm having conversation, one-on-one conversation with each MCA, and picking the expectation and presenting my way of doing things and seeing if we meet up somewhere. But before this, I had done quite a wider research on how the failures of the previous assemblies were, both in terms of leadership and direction. And I'm feeling it. I'm listening to what appeals to these MCAs, both in their service to the people and also in their own personal welfare. So the criteria I'm using is just to one-on-one. I'm convincing them, I'm engaging them, a participatory sort of approach where we all sit, I hear their experience, I give them mine, and I sort of trim and tweak my thinking to meet their expectation. That's the method I'm using.
We've had some other candidates come out very openly, vying for the same seat. And actually, some of them say that they are the favorites, ODM favorites, yeah? Does this scare you? And if so, what's your take on this? Yes.
Does not pronounce itself directly that they have a favorite candidate, but we know from the back banners that is one particular one.
Yeah.
And if you ask me about that one, I'm not scared at all. Not scared at all.
All right.
Yeah. The party position is a useful, is very, very okay. The dominant party around this area is ODM. But remember now we have a bigger coalition called the Azimio coalition. So this goes beyond party. In my own opinion, it goes beyond the individual parties. It's more of the whole of the county. But also, I'm also looking at it as in, we also must meet the balance that is required in the Constitution, like Article 179, so that the minorities who are here and also people who are disadvantaged in either way are also involved. So it's beyond party. To me, it's beyond party. Party is important, but this is beyond party to me, if you ask me. We have women, we have youth, we have people with disability, we have minorities, we have our cousins from Korea. You know, party alone is not sufficient, in my opinion.
As we all know, this is a contest, and anyone may emerge the winner. But let us just assume you've been given this seat as the County Assembly Speaker. How well are you going to perform your duties, and what are some of your priorities just in case this seat is given to you, Mr. Owiny?
My priorities, first of all, in the assembly is to bring order.
Yes.
That means there's a bit of disorder in the entire assembly. I'm talking about the staffing, the house, I mean, the board, all the works. We'll have to clean house a little bit. Cleaning house here means that we have to put everything in order. We have to put people, match people with the right work that they're qualified for, that they've trained for, that they've experienced for. We'll also have to build the capacity of the MCAs, because about 73% thereabout of MCAs are new, a fresh breed of MCAs. We have to build their capacity to make sure that, first of all, before we even start the business of the house, that they understand deeply and completely about how the affairs of the house are run. Then also the other priority I have is to get the right kind of people to help in supporting the MCAs to prepare proper bills, to document their ideas in such a way that work will be done properly. I would also want, as part of my onboarding process, to benchmark with other successful counties within the region, visit those places, have my team look at those places and see what was done best, what we need to redo. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I'll try and see in those successful devolved units if there's something we can borrow. Then now we work together with the MCA. Then I'll want to make everybody equal. I'll want to make sure that I build the confidence of the team that they will have a fair referee and a referee who would be minding the house properly. Another priority area is that I would want to make a smooth and nice working relationship with the executive. A smooth working relationship with the executive also involves a good relationship without losing our oversight role as a house. And then we're also losing the focus of the representation that the people have. Because the assembly is the voice of the people. The assembly is the mouthpiece of the people. So we have to tell the executive what the people are saying. So I'll try to make sure that harmony is there between the two units of the county government. The other ones are the workings of the house, to make sure the workings of the house are okay. One of the biggest manifestos that I want to build them an assembly, a modern assembly, a proper functioning assembly. I don't know that you have an opportunity to see the assembly we have here in MIGORI. It's small. It's small, it's not modern. And then there's no offices for the MCAs. So one of my flagship commitments is that I will build a proper assembly with offices for the MCAs. I'll try and work very closely with the assembly to make sure this is realized. So that funding comes from the executive, to make sure that funding comes from the executive within our priorities and plans. But I also want to fundraise beyond and outside of the assembly. I have a bit of network in fundraising and collection of this proposal writing and all that. I'll try to see if I can reach to beyond the government of Kenya to see if I can get funding to make sure that we have a proper assembly. But I promise you that at the end of 5 years, there will be something better than what we have right now. Yeah.
In the previous assemblies, we've had a lot of wrangles between members and also members with the executive. So moving forward, how best do you feel such challenges should be handled to avoid the act of violence in the Honorable House? Yes, please.
What I think is the best way to do is to understand exactly deeply. You know, we are watching from the outside, we don't know the real details. Is to understand, I think an audit will be sufficient to do a proper audit of really what went wrong and how can we do things differently. But for sure, I will tell you that whatever we budget for, whatever we plan for, we will deliver. If we don't deliver, we'll come back to the House and say why we didn't deliver. If there's any fault where this was not delivered, we'll call those people in the executive who are responsible to come and explain. Now here, this order I'm talking about is that the relationship between the Assembly and the Executive was such that the Executive and the Assembly were in bed together. So there was no way that the Assembly would properly oversight the Executive. So in this particular way, I'll put that separation and have those responsible within the Executive. I'm not talking about the governor or the deputy governor, the specific people who are entitled, who are given the mandate to offer so those services, who fail to do so, to come and explain to the House why they fail to do so. We'll also discuss with the Executive if perhaps it was something beyond their ability. Sometimes we hear that money delays to come from Treasury, sometimes when it comes kidogo kidogo. We'll understand. What we can understand, we'll understand. I'll make sure that the transparency levels are such that the House knows what is happening in the Executive. Now here today, people are saying the country is broke. This is a rumor going on. In the purpose of transparency, it's good to let the House know that we are broke because of A, B, C, D. So that when you put demands, you don't put demands that cannot be met by what is the capability of the Executive at that particular moment. So that working relationship, that transparency is something I will use to overcome that.
As we wind up, what are some of your closing remarks? Yes.
You know, we are living in a democratic country, and if we live in a democratic country, we seek representation, or we seek to be voted by those who vote because of what we present and what we bring, not because of malice and rumors and innuendo, because of the manifesto we present to them. This is how I want to run the Assembly. Not because of my relationship with the governor, or my relationship with my member of parliament, or my relationship with the top echelons of the party in Nairobi. No. We want to be judged based on the manifestos we give the people and our track record and our attitude towards these issues around the Assembly that we're talking about. There's been a situation where MCAs have been intimidated because particular people want them to vote in a particular way. And that shows you quite clearly that they're scared. They're scared of a clean duel. It is said he who comes to equity should come with clean hands. So if you're going to compete, if I'm demanding for competition and they also are demanding for competition, let us go for competition without intimidating the MCAs. First of all, the standing orders say that the election should be through secret ballot. And if the elections are through secret ballot, it means you cannot trace back and find out how people voted. If you can trace back and find out how people voted, then it's not a secret ballot. We want to make sure that the whole arrangement around the election is such a way that it's truly what the standing orders say, secret ballot. Yeah. If things like serializing the ballot paper interfere with the secrecy of the vote, we'll find another way of putting a security feature on the ballot paper. If the order by which they are called also is going to interfere with the secrecy of the vote, then we'll ask that they are called randomly, so that you're called Peter, Tom, without having someone trace the time you're called and the serial number ballot that you did. Then you will not get the people's idea. If indeed we are looking for the choice of the MCAs, let this thing be free and fair. Tawa hiyo mambo ya serial nini, stop intimidating the MCAs, stop carrying. I hear they're carrying MCAs to Kisii, I don't know when, to where, the places. If they're true Democrats and they want a clear, free and fair, let's meet Kwadebe there without pushing the MCAs. That's the only thing I'm asking for. I'm also coming with clean hands. I have no dirty game I'm playing. I'm just talking to the MCAs. So the duel should be very, very clear and straightforward. And I'm asking the governor that to allow democracy to prevail. Well, people are using his name, but clearly perhaps it's not him. But if he pronounces himself that he has a preferred candidate, then we will have to bring this up to you, to the press and others. Thank you.
We've come to the end of another episode of MR Media, where authentic stories are told. We wish all the best to Mr. Martin Owiny. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. You can also comment on the comment section. Until next time, I have been your host, Mercy Ravoga. Adios.